And recently, we've been working with the Naomi Hotel Group, which is in Singapore, with hotels in Australia, Singapore, a few in New Zealand. I'm going to be involved in a project in Dubai. And what else? I was going to say we only work on material brands, but that's not really true. AIA Insurance, ABC Australian Broadcasting Commission, Big Pond Foxtel, Fonterra New Zealand for the US, Highland, the largest material manufacturer in Indonesia, the Low Institute for Cancer with Kevin Rudd, launching it at the Norton University and and we get pulled into jobs through network clients, Westpac. At the start, Melbourne City Council won the Melbourne International Biennale. We work material brand for manufacturers coming in and out of Western markets. We started working with Uracell Quick-Dry, the largest reticulated foam manufacturer, like People, groups of enterprise manufacturing. Then beyond New Zealand brands from Australia launching in the US. America, we've got a new project coming up, which is in Tokyo. Yes, it's been very diverse. One thing brands can do to ensure success. What's one thing brands can do to turn into a success? I think there's a real opportunity for brands to be bold and confident and sort of do whatever they want to do at the moment. There's a real change in technology which allows people with not huge budgets to compete with big budgets. So I would be trying to sort of disrupt markets and change things rather than do more of the same. I think there is an opportunity to be more creative. A lot of times sort of tend towards being safe. I think that's risky. I mean, safe and boring is as much of a risk as being progressive and creative. The progressive option can deliver a lot more. Advantage or disadvantage of not having done most jobs before is the fact that we haven't been done most of the jobs before an advantage or a disadvantage. I mean, I think it can be a real advantage if you're thinking about, say, trade shows. There's definitely a way to design a trade fair space, which I don't think is very good.
I think
very production-based.
Cliche, but
they're not very
still
considered.
Living in a different
They're
world.
often done builders
Even,
and technical
I think
people,
post-COVID,
not creative
sort of
people. We
changed
sort of
things.
looked at it as a space that
Every
we could do whatever we wanted, and it was more of an experience. And I served an opportunity to do something monumental that's interesting and engaging. I mean, I think with a trade space, for example, or event space, getting people to notice the space and walking in is primary. I mean, that's hard to do, in a massive Asian show. Being different, doing something that people haven't seen definitely is an advantage. Even having no background doing campaigns, I think that was an advantage because I sort of approach it from another way that can be more relevant. I suppose it's a more pure approach. It's supposed to be a disadvantage if you're thinking of it would be better if we'd done things and technical understanding of the process, and we've had experience doing that, but I think that's less and less relevant. I think being fresh and doing things differently is actually better. Having experience a lot of time. Like, what's your competitive advantage? In a weird way, and I feel like we're just getting started, and I feel like there's lots of things to come. I mean, it takes a while to get experience and build up your polio and get points on the board that people recognize and trust you to do interesting work based on your background. We've got that, and I'm excited about what will come next. AI has been good for us. It's really a chance to compete with the big guys, and the best will people win, and I'm looking forward to that.
I think, cliche, but we are still living in a different world from even, I think, post-COVID sort of changed things. Every brand I work with wants to be transformative and interesting. I suppose they're not looking to be the same. I mean, I suppose if you don't go with someone like me, I'm someone that pushes creatively, just naturally. I work with sort of people that don't celebrate normal, I suppose. I think my offer is dependent on doing interesting work.
Walking from a distance, you could have really strong, pure ideas.
gets too many people having opinions, then ideas get watered down. So I've been working internationally across Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Singapore. The systems have been rolled out all across the world for events like Miami Art Festival and the Milan Furniture Fair. The systems have been adopted as a sort of a model for other artists to implement it in New York galleries, everywhere. Yeah, basically been working with the focus on Southeast Asia, a little bit in North America, a little bit Australia and US. 6 years. A lot in New Zealand, not that much in Australia. Does it get easier? I think it gets easier as you get more aware, as people get more aware of us. People sort of recognize what you do. If you don't know the market, it is tough. It's hard to understand what's going on other than country, especially since I'm doing sort of Western and Eastern accounts, I suppose. North Carolina is very US based, and Indonesia is very Indonesian, so they're very different. And then New Zealand and Australia, they're different again. I have more of an understanding of markets, but my options and designs are often visually based, and I focus on great work. I believe good work does not have a language.
I think, cliche, but we are still living in a different world from even, I think, post-COVID sort of changed things.
Every brand I work with wants to be
What's my creative process? My background is from large brand consultancies and design studios, I suppose. Sort of, working with the biggest consultancies and, the big studios in Australia, that's where it comes from. But it's a bit of an ever-evolving process. We offer our service from discovery, which is understanding and research phase in order to brands. Design, which is pretty much focused on identities and creating systems and languages for brands. Direction, which is the initial stage of rollout where we're directing shoots, working with directors, market specialists in for animation, etc. And then delivery, which is really like the rollout, especially the last phase. It's designed to be flexible. We don't mind other people coming in, other companies. We don't mind training client staff internally. We design systems for other people to follow. Initially, we did focus on a brand consultancy, a specialist brand identity model, where we just touched the first part of creation guidelines or tone of voice, setting out initial sort of strategy, but not really taking any further. But technology changed our systems and model. It's very easy for jobs to grow into large rollouts. I mean, we've started to do more events and sort of structures that go into major builds. So we were designed to build phase for international events across the world. We've got a team of people in Jakarta that can do really things like builders. And then it sort of grew into advertising, I suppose. Advertising, which, basically we've been doing everything from changing a brand name through to final TVC. So that's like full agency sort of capabilities and service. It's not just me, it's like a team of people. But it's not, we're not cheap. Our model is much more efficient, and that's just less people touching it. The model is based on a sort of directed direction with either senior management companies. It's a model that grew and developed in Indonesia. You're just dealing with a very big company that has no middle management, and you're talking to the owner. It's really a model based on, results, not processes.
I think, cliche, but we are still living in a different world from even, I think, post-COVID sort of changed things.
We
Every
typically
brand
work
I
with
work
very
with wants
senior
to be
people, and although we're a flexible structure, those senior people have been working with nearly every job since 2008. Martin, Jonathan, Boyan, even my developers in India, they're all the same people. So we've got a structure or process based around senior people being at the top and really having direct access to clients and senior people that are very good. I think that gets results. We need to get results quickly, and that's what we do. Okay, next question. Do brands have an interest do they have that type for interesting experimental ideas? I think most of them. I think, cliche, but we are still living in a different world from even, I think, post-COVID sort of changed things. Every brand I work with wants to be transformative and interesting. I suppose they're not looking to be the same. I mean, I suppose if you don't go with someone like me, I'm someone that, pushes, creatively, just naturally. I work with, sort of people that don't celebrate normal, I suppose. And I think my offer is dependent on doing interesting work. I've mentioned gravity, water down ideas. What does that mean? Working from a distance, you've got to have really strong, pure ideas. If it gets too many people having opinions, then ideas get watered down. So we stick to original ideas. We often don't get that much feedback from our creative concepts. It's often the solution is sold in the first stage, and then it's basically, rolled out. We don't have project managers. Sometimes that stops us from getting work. Sometimes the client needs them. The client basically is dealing with decision makers all the time. People that make decisions, see the work, approve the work, A&D, it's done. If there's too much of a process, it doesn't work. How am I using AI? I initially just started playing 2 years ago. I started doing images for campaigns, for new material collections. Sort of then that evolved into video, the television commercials, and they're really being a sort of, when I started doing television commercials, using video as a project, there wasn't the technology to finish it, but that's how fresh it was. So we use AI to increase our capabilities, to sort of reduce the gap between big and small capabilities with a big and small studio agency. We're excited about it. I think it's, I've got lots of ideas that I've never been able to do because of production. AI allows us to do those. Anything's possible, and I think it's a very exciting time to be involved in technology and evolving change. What defines creativity? That's a good question. I think creativity to me is something that's intellectually and visually engaging and relevant to what you're trying to say. Creative to me is a constant evolution of getting better. It's ongoing. I'm always trying to be progressive and stay dynamic, create instinctively in a way. I do things that I like to do, and I think people like them. It's a pure idea, a pure approach, an individual interpretation of a problem that results in something unique. Good creative is like contemporary art, making abstract, interesting, conceptual things open to interpretation for other people to view, is much more interesting than just having a solution. How do I know if a person is right for a project, the right fit? Even though we're very flexible, I'm very selective on who I work with. The key people I work with, as I said before, have been working with me for ages. They're people from a network working with big consultancies and agencies for over 10 years. Sam I was working with in Singapore in 2002. Martin, I've been working with for ages, since 2008. Jonathan, since 2005. My producer, since 1999 work, that's 4 or 5 key people that come and pull of hundreds and hundreds of good people. And I suppose the add-ons from that have been through a network of connections. I don't really get people on open markets, people are referred to me. So it's really a close circle of people that have built from a closed circle of people. It's pretty simple, it doesn't change. So we think a lot about who we get on jobs, and they stay if you're good, basically.